What's up, everybody? Jay here with Jay's Backyard Cooking. And today we're getting into a 9-pound brisket. Costing me $35. We're gonna hang it in the pit barrel. Let's get into it. So right off the bat, to start this video, I'm not gonna bore you with the trimming. I'm gonna show the aerial footage of it, and we're gonna trim it. I'm gonna speed through all of that, possibly play some music, and we'll see you at the barrel. So I dumped the chimney in here, and I couldn't figure out where I was gonna put the fat renderings because I'm not using the grill. You can see I hung the brisket in there. So probably about an hour or two, maybe the first time that I think it's ready to go to move to the other side is when I'll put the multi-probe Inkbird temperature gauge that I have, and that's when we'll start to monitor it, and that's probably when I'll start to spritz it, and we'll go from there. But she's on, she's smoking. Hopefully the rain cooperates. If not, I'll throw the canopy up in a hurry. But last night it was calling for a decent kind of rain. This morning it's saying probably not, depending on where we live, so we'll see how that goes. So we're right about the 2-hour mark. I'm gonna go ahead and put the temperature probe in. That way we can start monitoring where we're at and decide whether I'm gonna spritz or not. It's looking good so far. I'll show you a picture here in a little bit, but I'm gonna get it moved from this side to this side just to kind of keep the coals even on both sides as far as burn goes. So we'll move it over this way, and I'm actually gonna turn it around just in case I decide to spritz. You don't really want to spritz the fat side of the brisket. You want to keep that as, you don't want to cool it down with any kind of a spritz or anything. You want it to continue to render. And if you spray it, it'll cool down. So the temperature gauge for the pit and then the temperature gauge for the brisket. Just personal preference. But on the Inkbird, I like to put the pit probe as number 1, just easier for me to remember that way. And then we're gonna run it through the hole of the rebar. That way we don't create another gap on the inside. So let me take this back off real quick. And then we'll look at this one. The pit one I'm just going to let dangle over the rebar. And then the temperature probe, just find a place, probably on the thicker side. Get this fired up. Just simple on-off switch in the back. No presets or anything needed. We'll see what the temperature says. So the brisket itself is showing 122. The pit showing 203, still climbing. Looks like we're holding steady at 282 according to the Inkbird. The internal temp of the brisket right now is 124. So I'm probably gonna give it another, we're sitting at about an hour and a half. I'm probably gonna give it about another 30 minutes, and then I am gonna spritz just on the meat side. Let me give you a quick glimpse. Hopefully I don't lose too much heat of what it looks like now. It looks pretty good. A little bit of char on the outside. That's what we're looking like. Let's cover this back up. Like I said, give it another half hour, 45 minutes, depending on what the temperature does at that point, and then we'll start spritzing. All right, so we finally hit a temperature of about 170, which is right around the time that I like to wrap. So I'm gonna spritz it one more time, then I'm gonna get the table set up, get the butcher paper laid out, and then we'll wrap it. We'll put the grill back in, and then we'll set it on the grill. And then at that point, we'll wait till it comes to temperature. We're looking at about 201, 202, 203, somewhere around there before I pull it, and then we'll let it rest.
Inkbird. Million uses.
The other thing I wanted to show you was how I plan to get the tallow out of there. You see I have these extended, they're made for offset smokers or really anything. You see they got where you can grab logs that are on fire or that are lit up. I'm hoping this does the trick and we'll fish out that container down there. It should be pretty easy. Yep, here we go. We'll set that on the table here. Put this back on. Safety first. Always use gloves. Yeah, we're good. Look at that. Render down real nice. There you go. Look at the juice coming out of there. Fat part. Grab this tallow. Just drizzle it on. Real heavy coating. Just like that. Now we're going to set the grill in there. Take that temperature probe out. Set this right in the middle. Stick that probe back in. Remember, you got to have the rebar in there. Internal temp of the meat 160. Barrel lost a little bit of heat. We're sitting at 271. Climbing back up again since I have it covered. At this point we sit and wait. We're done spritzing. We're done checking it. We're done opening the barrel. Now it's just a matter of checking the temperature, and once it starts to get probe tender, which is where the probe would just slide in and out like butter, that's what we're looking for. That's what we'll call it. All right, guys, I'm gonna be a little honest with you. I'm a little worried. Put the brisket on right about 7 o'clock this morning. We're going on, it's 12:30 now. What are we looking at, 5 hours, 5.5 hours? Internal temperature now is showing 201. I don't know if it's the barrel that cooked it that fast, if it was hanging it that cooked it that fast, but it's sitting at 201. Internal temperature right now is showing 226. It was holding around 275, 290 was the highest I think I saw it. And it's showing to be done. So We're gonna pull it. We're gonna let it rest for probably an hour. I'm not gonna put it in the cooler this time. I'm gonna put it in an aluminum pan, wrap it with foil paper, and I'm gonna put it in the oven with the oven off and just let it come down to temperature on its own. So we'll see. Feels tender. Kind of had a little bend there. Get this cut off. Also, I did struggle a little bit. This is supposed to be Wi-Fi, and it's always connected to my. I think I've always had it connected to my iPad through an app called Barbecue Go, and for the life of me, I couldn't get it to catch on my phone. So I'm thinking about upgrading, maybe going to something just a little more. There's one that looks like the Echo. What is it? The Echo Show. Kind of stands up like this. We'll see. I don't know. I mean, this one works just fine. I just gotta come outside and check it. I guess just gotta stop being lazy. So yeah, let's get this inside. Let's get it wrapped, and we'll be back in about. All right, let's check it out. Moment of truth. Ended up letting it rest for probably an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. I think. I'm anxious to get into it, see what it came out tasting like. So we'll get it unwrapped here. Smell. Shrunk pretty good. Wasn't expecting for it to shrink this much. So here's the point. Here's the flat. You can tell. I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but right here, that's where they link up. So we're gonna start cutting about right there. We'll separate those. Look at that smoke ring. Perfect. Both sides. You push down on it. Look at that. Push down on this side. This is the flat, so it's gonna be a little leaner. Let me get this put aside. That way we can have our pan to put the slices in. But this is, overall, it's looking and smelling really good right now. I'm gonna leave those juices in there. Look at this. Just juice is pouring out of there. So let's get this flat sliced up. This is gonna be cut the same way that I sliced it, in the same manner on that side. You look, drooping pretty good. It's got real nice droop there. We'll continue cutting. Look at that smoke ring. I have a feeling this is going to turn out a lot better than what I thought it was. We'll get those loaded into the pan, get those out of the way. We'll taste test in a little bit. Probably speaking a little too early right now, but this is probably going to be one of the better briskets that I've put out in a while. I'm going to call it slow and fast, I guess, because I was not expecting for it to cook this fast at the temperature the barrel was pumping out. It was holding steady at that 275, and we were right at about the 5 hour mark, maybe a little over from when I put it in. One thing for sure is I'm glad I didn't set it last night, because cooking this fast, we would have woken up to beef jerky this morning, and that would not have been good. On the point, you always want to cut opposite way. I sliced it this way, we're gonna slice against that. Same thing here. Look at that droop. What I was originally worried, I'm not anymore. I think this is gonna be really good. First time hanging a brisket in the pit barrel. And if this turns out the way I think it is, it won't be my last. We'll put this on this side, face the other way. I need to get me one of those longer knives. That way it's easier to slice through this big chunk of meat. And I was not expecting for it to shrink as much as it did. Started out as a 9-pounder. I probably trimmed off about a pound of, fat trimmings or whatever. And it shrunk down quite a bit. Maybe because of how fast it cooked. Not exactly sure on that, and we'll try the pull test in a minute. This right here is basically gonna be the burn-in piece of it. We'll get these cut up into chunks. That's the flat. We'll save those. Throw in a couple of burn-ins there, a couple of those. Let's go for the pull test. So, again, real nice droop. Kind of tough there. Now I'm worried again. Pulled pretty good on the flat. Let's try another one. Decent pull. It's got a little tug to it. You want to taste it?
Sure.
It's got a little tug to it. But let's see. On flat or point? Let me give you the point. I'll take the flat. Really good smoke flavor. Want a piece of flat? Now I'll take a point.
Pretty good. Got a good flavor.
Flavor-wise, guys, I can tell you, came out delicious. Salt and pepper, straight Texas style. Could have added a little bit of garlic to it, but flavor-wise, on point. Obviously, it cooking so fast had a big determining factor in how tender it came out. But if you're in a pinch and need to pump out a brisket in a hurry, the barrel will do it for you. This is probably one of the better briskets that I've put out. It should have taken longer. It should have cooked a lot slower. But overall, I think this is one that we're probably going to finish throughout the week. Today is Easter. Happy Easter, by the way. We do have, the only place we were able to find open today was Walmart, and they do have some pre-made potato salad, coleslaw, and macaroni salad, which is what I got. But this is gonna make for some pretty good meals. If you like what you saw here, please consider subscribing, hit that like button, hit that bell button so you get notified every time I put up a video. We'll see you next time.